Tariff the penguins. Show them we mean business. You penguins are going to pay your fair share.
The penguins are relieved. No, seriously. After days of being launched headfirst into economic chaos by Trump's tariff cannon, they're finally getting a breather. Heard in McDonald Islands, remote, ice-blanketed outposts in the Southern Ocean made headlines when they landed on Trump's trade hit list. The only residents? Penguins. So why did a US trade war need to reach Antarctica? After a global backlash, Trump's tariff cannon has paused, at least for now. So what happened? Did Trump blink? Was this always the plan? And why is Elon Musk suddenly fighting with Trump's top trade advisor? Hello and welcome, I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching Statecraft. Trade War 2.0 has officially begun, and this time it's personal. 125%. That's the new tariff Donald Trump has slapped on all Chinese imports. Not just steel or semiconductors. Everything, from iPhones to t-shirts, toys to televisions. It's no longer just a trade war. It's a full-scale economic siege. This comes right after a 90-day suspension for other nations, a decision that's only intensified tensions between the world's two largest economies. So is Trump protecting American jobs or lighting the fuse on a global economic meltdown? You know it's bad when even penguins are weighing in on global trade wars. Gone are the individual country-specific penalties. Instead, there's a single flat rate. While China now faces a crushing 125% tariff, almost everyone else just dodged a bullet. Today we break down Trump's big tariff reversal, the global backlash that triggered it, the surprise exemptions, and why the penguins of global trade might be celebrating too soon. In a dramatic twist, Trump has offered a 90-day grace period for other nations, singling out China in a trade war that's escalating with unprecedented speed. Beijing has fired back with tariffs of its own, targeting US coal, LNG, farm equipment, and automobiles. Markets are rattled, global trade is teetering, and the world is now bracing for the fallout of what could be the most brutal economic clash of the decade. The trigger? China's refusal to back down in what Trump calls a long overdue reckoning. Just days after China's retaliatory tariffs kicked in, the White House responded with its own economic bomb, a sweeping 125% tariff on all Chinese imports. On 2nd of April, Trump took to the White House Rose Garden, armed with a giant chart and a bombastic message. He declared it Liberation Day from what he called decades of looting, pillaging, and economic rape by America's trade partners.
I think you're going to remember today, it's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country.
Trump announced reciprocal tariffs, a series of penalties that would match or in some cases exceed the duties that other countries place on American goods. In short, if you tax us, we'll tax you harder. The justification? US had a record $1.2 trillion trade deficit in 2024. Trump blamed unfair trade deals, accusing allies and rivals alike of ripping America off. China, Vietnam, Japan, even war-torn Syria and Myanmar were hit with new tariffs. The few spared? Russia, Iran, and a handful of others. The timeline of this conflict shows just how fast the pressure escalated. In early 2025, Trump administration reignited the trade war with a 10% tariff on all Chinese imports. The official reason? National security and protecting US industry. The unofficial one? Fulfilling Trump's promise to decouple from China's manufacturing dominance. The initial move was swiftly met with retaliation from China, and by April, White House went nuclear. 125% tariffs. No exemptions, no consultations, just brute economic force. But here's the twist. Within days, the Trump administration rolled most of it back. A week later, country-specific tariffs were scrapped. Instead, a flat 10% tariff applied to most nations, while China alone faces the full 125%. White House advisors called it the strategy all along, a show of strength before real negotiations. But critics say Trump blinked, proof that the US president could not handle the global backlash. 75 countries demanded talks. Diplomats from the EU, Japan, and Canada were reportedly furious. Markets tanked. The Dow lost 900 points in just 2 days. Major manufacturers panicked. Even Trump's own allies started to push back. And one feud went completely public. Elon Musk versus Peter Navarro. Both are supposed to be Team Trump. But when Peter Navarro, the longtime trade hawk, dismissed Musk as a mere car assembler, Musk snapped. He fired back, saying Tesla is the most vertically integrated automaker in America with the highest US content. Musk called Navarro a moron on X, said he was dumber than a sack of bricks. Then mocked Navarro's Harvard PhD as a bad thing. Navarro hit back on Fox News, accusing Musk of protecting his business interests. And Musk is, because if there's one billionaire these tariffs hit hardest, it's him. Let's talk numbers. Since 2019, Tesla's Shanghai factory has outpaced its California plant. It now delivers over half of Tesla's global output. 40% of Tesla's battery supply chain comes from China. China offered Tesla low-interest loans worth $1.4 billion, a 15% corporate tax rate, and a second Shanghai plant opened just this February. But with Trump's new tariffs, Tesla's cost advantage vanishes. Worse, China hit back with its own tariffs on American cars, batteries, and tech components. It even issued travel warnings for Chinese citizens heading to the US. Musk's empire caught in the middle. But this isn't just about Elon. Trump's hardline approach to China is nothing new. Even during his previous term, he tried to decouple the two economies. But this time, he's going all in. China isn't sitting quietly. It retaliated, and not randomly. Its countermeasures are surgical. Coal, crude oil, machinery, farming. All industries tied to key Trump states. This isn't just economics. This is psychological warfare. For American consumers, prices are about to rise fast. Electronics, clothing, household items, all getting more expensive. For US businesses that rely on Chinese parts, production costs are surging. And inflation? Almost guaranteed. And it's not just goods. China is now targeting American culture, specifically Hollywood. Sources suggest Beijing is considering a total blackout of US films. For years, Hollywood relied on China. Blockbusters like Avengers, Avatar, and Fast and Furious made billions in China alone. Studios tailored films to pass Beijing's censors, toning down content, changing costs. But with tensions peaking, China may shut that door. The economic stakes are enormous. In 2023 alone, China contributed nearly $4 billion to the US box office earnings. Losing that market could cripple studios and open the door for China's own entertainment industry to expand globally. This isn't just about money, it's about narrative control. Trump's White House has long accused China of using Hollywood for image building. Now China is flipping the script, punishing what it sees as a hostile cultural power. Trump says China taxes US goods at 67%, so his 125% is just discounted reciprocity. But economists say it could backfire, and hard. The US imports hundreds of billions in electronics and machinery from China. These tariffs could lead to higher prices, supply chain shocks, and slower manufacturing, just as inflation was easing. And don't forget, China's hitting back with its own 84% tariffs on US goods. That includes energy, exports, agriculture, and vehicles. This isn't Cold War anymore. This is turning into a full-scale economic battlefield. So was this escalation deliberate? Or did Trump get trapped by his own rhetoric, forced to climb down on the rest of the world but double down on China to save face? Right now, 75 countries have filed requests for negotiations with Washington. White House says it plans to engage with all of them in the next 90 days. An almost impossible diplomatic feat. The pause in tariffs isn't permanent. It's just that, a pause. If Trump doesn't strike enough deals or extract enough concessions by July, we could see another wave of tariffs, or worse, a trade war with everyone, not just China. Right now, Trump is trying to sell two contradictory ideas. First, that he's tough enough to stand up to the world. And second, that this was all part of a 4D chess game. But the markets aren't buying it, and neither is Elon Musk. So did Trump blink under pressure? Short answer, yes and no. Yes, because the economic fallout was immediate. Stocks tanked, allies revolted, CEOs raged. Even Trump-friendly billionaires like Musk started fighting with his advisors online. But also no, because Trump got what he wanted: attention, negotiations, and leverage. He's reset the table. Everyone's now rushing to Washington with proposals. Countries are worried, CEOs are lobbying, the media obsessed. And by escalating with China and only China, Trump gets to say he's still tough, still fighting, still delivering for America. As the trade war escalates, Trump is betting on nationalism, but Xi Jinping is also playing the long game. Beijing's tariffs have been calibrated not just to hurt, but to sow domestic dissent inside the US energy exports like LNG and coal. Once a cornerstone of Trump's energy dominance agenda are now liabilities. Farmers who were already struggling with global price slumps are now at risk of losing critical Chinese markets. The political fallout could be intense, especially in the run-up to midterms. Investors are also on the edge. Stock markets have whipsawed with each new tariff announcement. Global supply chains, already battered by the pandemic and then realignment policies, are now facing outright chaos. Manufacturing hubs from Vietnam to Mexico are watching nervously. If the world's two largest economies are locked in economic trench warfare, no one escapes unscathed. And yet, the most disturbing aspect of this economic conflict may not be what's happening now, but what comes next. A prolonged trade war doesn't just damage economies, it rewires them. So maybe he did all this knowing everyone would turn around and look. And finally, the one country that does not seem to be sweating at all: Russia. The Russian embassy in Kenya shared a meme of several countries fighting in a cartoon brawl. On the one side, a chill figure representing Russia is sipping tea, caption, "Tariff Wars." It's not just a joke, it's the truth. Russia was spared from Trump's tariffs not because of good relations, but because there's barely any meaningful US-Russia trade left. Sanctions have already frozen economic ties, so while the rest of the world panics, Russia is chilling, watching America's allies scramble, China retaliate, and US billionaires melt down. For now, the penguins and memes may be having fun, but underneath the chaos, can Trump turn this mess into a trade deal victory, or has he already lost control? Did Trump play his cards right, or did he blink? Politically, the window for compromise is shrinking. Trump's base sees confrontation with China as a badge of honor. Beijing, on the other hand, has staked its legitimacy on resisting what it views as American economic bullying. Neither side wants to blink. Only the next 90 days will tell. Thank you for watching Statecraft.